Hey, read through the word. Today is October 7th, and today's lesson is called, how did I write this? Covered in his dust. Covered in his dust. Now, I so wanted to do this type of lesson, but of course, so if you were in our Facebook group, I went live the other day. Wendy had not, she just doesn't release personal information unless it's necessary. So y'all have been through quite a few things with me since I started. My concussion was just yesterday was 4 years ago since my concussion, and then we'll be coming up on 3 years since breast cancer. So there's a lot, but my father-in-law passed away, and so I talked about that in our Facebook group. So if you want to go look at that, and I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Ooh. Ragweed is high in North Carolina. So today's lesson. So I had these great lessons already written out, and I just last week, and I was like, oh man, I had this one through John chapter 1 that I love. I deal with my class at school on metaphor and the power of of language that God uses. I had another one about the calling of the disciples. And so I'll just hold on to those until another time. And today is sort of a mixture of a couple lessons I've taught before. So if you're like, this sounds familiar, Lisa. Well, it's been a few years, but I think I did this because this is something I taught my class at school. It was one I really liked. And as an English teacher, I love alliteration. And so it's full of alliteration too. And so, which is the beginning sound of consonant sound in a word starting. So pastors, their 3-point sermons always same letter, that kind of thing. So we're looking at, I picked this verse in all of our reading today. It's Mark 5:21. It says this: Jesus got into the boat again and went back to the other side of the lake, where a large crowd gathered around him on the shore. Okay, that's the verse I picked, but I want you to take a look at, it is basically since the disciples are called. When he calls the disciples, and especially in our chronological Bible, if you've got the actual physical Bible, you can see it. And we'll just walk through, go back to where the disciples are called. And so I think that's just, hold on, October, let's see, hold on, October 1st, no, back a little bit further, teaches by the sea, disciples follow Jesus. So September 27th, 28th, around in there is where, so if you have, like I've got my 1 year chronological, and this is the journaling one, that's why it looks a little different. Same text, but looks a little different. And if you just go, you'll notice, I mean, once the disciples are called, we're in full force ministry for 3 years, about 3.5 years, because he has a lot to teach them. And I want you just to constantly, and as we continue reading up until the raising of Lazarus, up until that point, that is, and so things swiftly, like there's this huge shift in the ministry of Jesus right there, because that's just the week before the triumphal entry. And so when you're looking at this, I want you to see the nonstop ministry of Jesus. But why I am calling today's lesson, what I say I called it, covered in his dust, is this idea of being covered in the dust of the rabbi. If any of you know, I highly, highly, highly recommend the ministry of Vander. And he has this whole series called In the Dust of the Rabbi. Fantastic. It's old now, but it is good. Anything he does is really, really good because he'll take you to the places. I think there's a book by Christy McClelland that is like the Jewish roots of the faith and all of these type of things. But I want to talk about that at that point because I want you to hold on to this idea of being covered in the dust of the rabbi. So hold that thought for just a moment because what I want you to see is Jesus has specifically chosen a group of 12 to follow him. He's going to be their rabbi. He's going to be their master. But what we see, what I want you to look at this is and the crowds were following him, and the people appeared, and the people came up to him, and like today's reading is like that. It's like wham, 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 wham. So we see all of these things happening, and these people are coming after Jesus. But, spoiler, by the time we get to the cross, there's not that many there. And I will tell you that Jesus, we see these large groups of people, and then you have a group of 70 that's basically following him around. You have a group of 12, and you have a group of 3. And so we see all of this, but there are people everywhere. There are multitudes everywhere. What is really going on? Why are all these people following him? And I am listing all these people today. There's another great book by a pastor in Kentucky, and his name is Kyle Idleman, and this is one of the very first things he wrote. And he's gray and older now, but this is when he was really young. He wrote a book called Not a Fan, where he discussed being a fan versus a follower of Jesus. And that's what I really want to look at today, is what was going on with all of the people. Because why are the people following him? I mean, why do people today follow him? So I think when you get down to it, alliteration, you're going to find that there's 4. And some of you may remember me talking about this before. There are 4 groups of people that are following him. There are the people that are following because of the multitudes. Look, he's going to feed some multitudes. But we've got multitudes. There are multitudes. I mean, a lot of people. So there's people that are following just because a lot of people are following him. Everybody else is, and like in this little speck on a map in those days, it was the place to be, to follow Jesus and see what he's going to be up to today. Everybody else is following him. I guess that's where I go. I know that a lot of times we see that in the church world, that where all the big crowds are showing up, everybody else shows up. And it's like the end place to be, or the popular place, or the don't get me started on having to purchase anyway, to go sing praise and worship songs today, the amount of money that people charge is crazy. But I know my daughter was wanting to, I'm like, yeah, no, we can sing and worship at home. But this idea of following because of, not that they're really followers, they're more fans. Excuse me. So Jesus had fans. He's got fans today. It's, oh yeah, Jesus, I like him. That kind of thing. So you had people that were following because of the multitudes. You had people following because of the miracles. They were there to see what the show was for the day. What's he going to do today? He's going to feed people. He's going to heal people. And he's going to raise from the dead. What's he going to do it? Because in our reading today, he does a little bit of all of it. So they what will he do next? What will he do next? And of the miracles for the show. Once again, these are fans. They want to see what's happening next. What's the next coolest thing we can do? Then there are the people that are following him for the meat. They want a free meal. They want a free meal. They don't want Jesus. They want what he can do for them, what he can get for them. I would make the statement or the analogy or comparison of that is the danger of a prosperity gospel now. That Jesus is good because he can do this for you. He can get you money. He can make you healthy. He can make all of these things you get. Well, isn't the point that Jesus is enough? So, if you're not following him because of the multitudes, you're not following him because of the miracles, and you're not following him for the meals, what are we following him for? Because he's the master. He is the master. Jesus says, my sheep hear my voice, and they obey. So here's the point of a master. In those days, Jesus isn't the only teacher going around. He's not the only one with disciples. Every rabbi, which is teacher, it's what Jesus was. Every rabbi in the day had a group of disciples that were supposed to follow him. Well, the point of a rabbi is the rabbi took the Torah and taught it. But not only did he teach the words, he modeled it. That's why he had people that followed him. He had disciples because they would follow their rabbi. And the saying was, you followed the rabbi so closely, you were covered in his dust. So we're supposed to be covered in the dust of the rabbi. So if the point was, okay, if this rabbi is going to explain the Torah to us, it's best if we follow him closely, we look at how he lives, we see how he interacts with people, we spend all of our time with him. That's exactly what the disciples do. When Jesus calls them, he calls them to be his followers for him to teach. And basically they're on a 3-year-long camping trip where they go from town and they follow him so closely so they become more and more like him. That was the point. And you will constantly see throughout the Gospels that people were astonished with the way that Jesus would speak about the law, the Torah, because he did so with authority. He was not like other rabbis, not like other teachers, because he is the Word. So yes, it's totally different. And so you see that there's a group of people who were following. Well, here's the thing. As we are now, and I will go more into this as we continue through the Gospels, is we are not just fans of Jesus. We are his followers. We have a calling on our life to be covered in his dust. We have a calling on our life to lead others to him. We have a calling on our life to make this world different. Because we have become molded into his likeness. He's my Savior. I will choose him every time. I will not choose sin. I will not choose the world. I will not choose a way that goes against the way my master has taught me to walk. Are we paying attention? That's the point of the Gospels. They show us how Jesus talked, how Jesus thought. And we go into that. We see how he interacted with people. We see, we're supposed to be the same way. And he is not physically here for us to follow. That's why we have the Word, because we see it. And we don't understand it, when we watch Jesus, we don't quite get things. That's why Paul writes his letters, to explain to us what it is to walk that out. To live like Jesus, to live like his followers, to be a disciple, and to make more. That is the calling in our life. We're not called just to stand back and say, oh, yay, good. No, we're in there, we're following, we're covered in his dust, we're becoming more and more like him. because this world is dark and desperate. It is dark and desperate. It gets darker every day, and I've seen things in my own state in the past couple of weeks I never would have thought I had seen. And the light in the state of North Carolina right now is the Church of Jesus Christ. Giving sacrificially, helping. We have a job. This world needs Jesus. That's why we're his followers. We're not fans. We're followers. And we need to lead other people straight to him. See you next time on Read Through the Word.